One. This is Fontanoza Laundry Services. No, this is the problem of Fontanoza Laundry Services. Here are the following chart of accounts. No, so we have assets, revenue, liabilities, expenses, and owner's equity. And we have the particulars, no, and we have account numbers, and we will be using this following account numbers and together with the particulars in journalizing our transactions, posting to the ledger, making trial balance, and making statement of comprehensive income, and we're going also to solve the statement of changes in equity and financial position of the Fontanoza Laundry Services. Okay, again, um, this chart of accounts, so this is really important that uh, you know, or you familiarize all the assets, revenue, liabilities, expenses, and owner's equity. No, so you should familiarize them, or if what would be the definition of each particulars or each accounting titles for you to easily analyze what would be the accounting titles to be used in the uh, journalizing the transactions. Okay, so we have the following transactions of Fontanoza Laundry Services. So it is started in the March on March 1, and here's the transaction, no, until March 30. Okay, and we have also the following requirements: the general ledger, trial balance, income statement, statement of changes in equity, and financial position. Okay, so first we will be solving the first requirement, uh, which is the general journal. Okay, so before we proceed to the transaction, and I will show to you the format of the general journal. Okay, this is the general journal, and I already stated the solution uh, for us to easily access, and not really time consuming. Okay, so this is the general journal. We have the date indicated, the particulars, full U, which is your reference number, your debit, that's our value received, and our credit, that's our value parted with. So this is page 1. Okay, and we have another page 2. Okay, so here is the transaction number 1, problem on March 1. So Miss Juice Fontanoza opens a current account with Alien Banking Corporation in the amount of 850,000 to start with her laundry shop business under the trade name Fontanoza Laundry Services. Okay, what's your value received? Okay, and what would be your value parted with? Okay, so here's the analysis. Okay, here's the transaction. Okay, so unsa may imuhang madawat? Okay, your value received is, okay, so our value received is cash in bank, and our value parted with is G Fontanosa Capital, and it is stated in the problem that the amount is 850,000. Okay, so what would be your debit? It should same amount also with your credit. And do not forget to write the reference number, which is the GL, wherein GL is came from the chart of accounts. GL is general ledger, and 111 is your account number here in cash in bank, no? And your value parted with, or your credit, is J Fontanosa Capital. So try to look at the particulars under owner's equity. So J Fontanoza Capital, so 331 is the account number. So that's the process, no, when you're going to journalize under the general journal. So same process. Okay, then here J Fontanoza comma capital is our credit, and always remember you should indent this one, okay, for us to determine if this is credit and this is debit. So debit is in the left side and the credit is in the right side, so we need to indent also for our um, explanation of our transaction in March 1. So to record initial investment, since J Fontanoza is investing for her business, no? So as you go back to the transaction number 1, no? So Gius Fontanoza would like to start her laundry shop business, okay? So uh, do not forget that every transaction, if you're done with the transactions 1, okay, so we need to skip for 1 row for us to proceed to the next transaction. Okay, so go back to the transaction 2. Purchase laundry supplies on account 90,000 from the following suppliers. So we have different types of suppliers. We have SMCT Davao 35,000 pesos. We have Gaisano Mall 25,000 pesos. Star Mall 30,000 pesos, and a total payable of 90,000. So when you're going to analyze this transaction, since we are done with the investment of the uh, business of Gius Fontanoza amounting to 850,000. So in transaction number 2, so Gius Fontanoza would like to purchase a laundry supplies on account, since she will going to start her laundry shop, so she needs to have a laundry supplies. So what's your analysis, no, what's your value received? Okay, so since you're going to purchase, so what would be your value received? Okay, so okay, laundry supplies, since you're going to purchase a laundry supplies, and try to check your chart of accounts if there's a laundry supplies. Okay, great, no, so we have laundry supplies under assets, no, and 113 is our account number, and try to uh, transfer or journalize that into our entries, and what would be your value parted with. Okay, so okay, so what do you mean by on account, no? So always remember, if you observe, if you read on account, no, so on account is our, that's accounts payable, so that's oral promise to pay. So you are uh you are promising to pay that in the future according to the due date, no, so it depends upon the negotiation in the business, if when do you want to pay. And of course you are negotiating with your suppliers, so you are asking a debt to your suppliers, you're asking a debt of or you're purchasing on account or on debt on laundry supplies. Okay, so you are you are asking a loan, or you are asking a debt to SMCT Davao, Gaisano Mall, and Star Mall. Okay? So, muna siya, you're, nangutang ka, ani nga mga uh, malls. So, on account, so oral promise to pay. So remember, if you're negotiating with your supplier, so your value received is, okay, laundry supplies, assets, under the assets, since that's what you want to purchase. And what's your value parted with? Okay, so accounts payable, since you are you're promising to pay. Okay, so let's try to check your entry here in journalizing. Okay, so great, no, so you receive laundry supplies. GL113 90,000, and accounts payable is what you give to your suppliers, oral promise to pay, uh, and that's GL222 and 90,000 pesos, and to record laundry supplies on credit. Okay, so that's transaction number 2. Then skip for one uh, row. So go back to the transaction number 3. Okay, purchase of laundry machine for cash 150,000. So what would be your value received? Okay, laundry machine. So do you think there's a laundry machine in the chart of accounts? Since you're going to purchase a laundry machine for your business and it is paid for cash 150,000. So of course, the dawat nimo is laundry machine. So tanaw na to. Okay. So do you think there's a laundry machine here? So asa man na belong ang machine? So machine is belongs to an equipment. So under laundry equipment 114 is the account number. Okay, so then your value parted with. Okay, so cash, no? So if you receive a laundry machine, of course you will be giving a cash to the supplier. Okay, so your value parted with is cash under asset. Okay, so try to look at the transaction number 3 in the general journal. Okay, so March 3 laundry equipment is your debit, no? 150,000 GL114. Your credit is cash in bank GL111 150,000 to record payment for laundry machine. Okay, another one row, and then let's proceed to uh, transaction number 4. Okay, rendered laundry services on account 80,000 to the following customers. So if you're going to analyze this transaction, you are rendering services on accounts to your customers. So what would be your value received? Okay, so your value received is, okay, accounts receivable, since your customers would like to ask services to your laundry shop, no? So for example, nagpalaba ang imuhang customers nimo kay daghan kayo siya mga gi kanang party nga iyahang gipang dekoritan, then wapak siguro kabayad iyang mga customers, so ni siya og muutang siya nimo, mo promise to pay siya nimo nga sunod na nako ni bayaran na niya, for example niya kinsinas nga makadawat ko sa sweldo or sa na siya kwarta na nga time. So so ikaw as the owner of the business, so what would be what is your value received since gusto man mungutang ang imuhang customer? So your value received is account receivable since you are dealing with a customer. So do not forget this one, because go back to the previous transaction. If you are dealing with the suppliers, so that's an accounts payable. If that's written promise to pay, no, so maybe that's notes payable, because that's you're dealing with your suppliers, but here you are dealing with your customers. So ikaw na po mo negotiate sa imuhang mga customers sa imong negosyo. Kaysa dili nga previous transaction, ikaw may nakig-negotiate sa suppliers nimo sa imuhang company nga laundry services. So go back to the transaction number 4. Okay, so what's your value received? Okay, accounts receivable 80,000, and what's your value parted with? Okay, so laundry income, since we are referring to rendered laundry services, so try to look at in the chart of accounts if there will be laundry income. Okay, so this is laundry income, which is 441. So we need to credit laundry income because this transaction we are aiming, especially we are a business owner of this certain company, so we are aiming for a profit of the business. So therefore we need to have a services to our clients or to our customers in order for us to generate profit. Okay, so what's your value received? Okay, so accounts receivable, again, no, accounts receivable under assets and the worth of 80,000 pesos, and our value parted with is laundry income under the revenue. Okay, so try to look for a journal, our journal entries. Okay, so all right, so March 4, accounts receivable debit GL 112 80,000, and laundry income GL 441 80,000, to record services on credit, and skip for one row and proceed to transaction number 10. Okay, paid taxes and licenses due to the government 4,000 pesos. Okay, so what's your analysis? Okay, you're going to pay for your taxes and licenses. Okay, so what's your value received? Okay, very good, no? Taxes and licenses, and your value parted with is cash. Since there is no accounts or on credit in the problem, so that's understandable that that's a pay to cash. Okay, so taxes and licenses, let's check. Okay, let's check if there will be a taxes and licenses. Okay, 557 and taxes and licenses, and we have a cash in bank. Okay, of course, cash in bank. So let's try to check the transaction number 10. Okay, so taxes and licenses is our debit, GL 557 4,000, cash in bank GL 111 4,000, to record payment for taxes and licenses. Okay, so as a reminder of everybody, no, so do not forget to write 2024 year here, then March, since this is a March transaction, so March 1 will be starting on March 1, and since this is the beginning of your initial investment of your business, so that's our starting point when we are starting a business, and it should be end until 30 or 31, no, so it should be systematically. So dili pwede og mauna ang March 30, March 31, March 15, and kinalasan ng March 1. Okay, and have you observed, no, so there is no comma uh, in the numbers, no, because in your general journal book, so you don't need to put a comma, so for you to practice, so do not put comma, especially when you're going to solve it here in the general journal paper. Okay, so go back to the transaction number 12. Okay, Miss G used Fontanoza withdrew 10,000 cash from the business for her personal use. So assuming, by you are the owner of the font of the business of the laundry services, you are withdrawing cash for your personal use. So what would be your debit? Okay, so what would be your value received? Madawat. Okay, so withdrawing by the owner, and you receive cash, or you value parted with cash. Okay, so your okay, so let's check what would be the accounting title of the withdrawal. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so since it is talk about withdrawal or withdrawing money, so that's drawing. So J Fontanoza, drawing. So what would be the normal balances of J Fontanoza drawing? So drawing is in increase in the increase in credit, so we'll be put that, or we will record that into debit, so that the capital of Fontanoza will decrease, no? So makuhaan ang kwarta ni Fontanoza kung ibutang na to na sa debit, since the normal balances of J Fontanoza drawing is in credit. So para mamainusan, ato siyang i-debit. Okay? Always remember the the mathematics operation, di ba? If that's positive, positive, okay, so you should add negative, negative, you should add. If there's if like sign, you should add. If unlike sign, no, so positive, negative, so you're going to subtract. So that's almost the same scenario with the debit and credit. So debit, debit, you're going to add, and credit, credit, you're going to add also. But if there will be debit and credit, so you're going to subtract it. Okay. Okay, so go back to the transaction. Okay, go back to the transaction of March 12. Okay, so what's your value received? Okay, J Fontanoza drawing, and your value parted with is cash. Okay, so okay, so you give J Fontanoza uh 10,000 for cash, and you were going to uh, receive a withdrawing, or J Fontanaza drawing, for us to know that Fontanoza is withdrawing cash for her personal use. Okay, so here's the transaction of number 12. J Fontanoza drawing, GL 332 10,000. Okay, and credit cash in bank, since cash in bank is the accounting title that we use in the chart of accounts. GL 111 10,000 to record withdrawal by the owner. Okay, then next we need to skip for one row. Then transaction 17, the bank issued a debit memo, 1,000 pesos, for interest and bank charges. Okay, so since we have two uh, transactions of 17, okay, so what would be your debit, since this is an interest and bank charges? Okay, let's check the accounting title in the bank, in the chart of accounts, since it talks about interest and bank charges. Okay, so try to look at the chart of accounts. Okay, interest. Okay, there is an interest expense, account number of 559. So since expenses is the normal balance in expenses is debit, so you're going to journalize that into debit. So your value received is, okay, interest expense, since interest expense is the accounting title that we use in the chart of accounts. So 1,000, and your value parted with is, since this is a debit memo. Okay, so I no 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 so we have a 17, first transaction in 17, so nalaktaw ta. Okay, so the business borrowed money from Alien Banking Corporation amounting to 100,000 by using a 15-day note. It was deposited to the account of Fontanoza Laundry Services by the way of credit. Okay, so your business, no, the business of G. Fontanoza would like to borrow money from Alien Banking Corporation amounting to 100,000 for additional investment for her laundry services. So this is 15-day note, no, and this is there's also a credit memorandum issued by the bank. Okay, so what would be your value received? Okay, since uh, you as the business owner mangutang ka og 100,000. Okay, of course you receive cash in bank 100,000 assets, and your value parted with is, since you are negotiating on, you are going to uh, ask a loan. So what's your, and this is a 15-day note. So as a reminder, no, when I explained a while ago that if you are negotiating with your supplier and you are going to ask an additional investment for your own business, so if that would be a on account, so that's accounts payable, that's oral promise to pay. But if that's a notes, no, if that's a written promise to pay, so that's a notes uh payable. Okay, so that's a notes payable, that's our value received under the liabilities. Okay, so 100,000 pesos. Okay, let's check the accounting or the journalizing. Okay, so you receive cash in bank, debit GL 111 100,000, credit notes payable 100,000, GL 221, and to record issued 15-day note for borrowed money. So you will just easily copy, no, copy the transaction here, no. It's up to you on how you make an explanation for you to understand easily, if you're going to recheck if there will be some uh, errors in the near problems, no. So it's easy for you to access, so you need to input explanation. Okay, so next transaction, we have the transaction 17. The bank issued a debit memo 1,000 pesos for interest and bank charges. So as I mentioned earlier, since this is an interest expense, and under the expense uh, account classification, so since there is an issued debit memo, so you receive you're going to pay for a interest and bank charges, so you receive what, okay, interest expense, and you're going to pay for a uh, 1,000 pesos. So do you think that's a cash, or that's an accounts payable? Okay, so that's pay to cash. Okay, so you're going to debit interest expense and credit uh, cash in bank. So try to check. Okay. Okay, so cash in bank debit GL 111 100,000, notes payable no, interest expense GL 559 1,000, cash in bank GL 111 1,000 to record bank interest payment. Okay, so next transaction. Okay, transaction 21. Receive cash of 45,000 pesos representing collection from the following customer's account. So when you will say customer account, so it should uh, understandable that you are receiving payment for your customers. So you are collecting uh, debts from your customers. So since you receive only cash 45,000, so you're going to look back from the previous transaction wherein you're dealing services with your customers. So okay, so I think no, that's transaction number 4, since you're rendering services on account to your customer 80,000. So there will be a partial payment of 45,000. So try to calculate 80,000 minus 45. Okay, so maybe that's a 35,000 pesos if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so you receive 45,000 cash in bank, and what's your value parted with? Okay, so accounts receivable. So since uh, there is an accounts receivable transaction in transaction number 4, and we need to deduct their debts, no, the debt of our, or the obligation of our customer, we need to deduct it. So therefore, I will be explaining to you the transaction, and we will be proceeding to journalizing. Okay, so, di ba, you found here, no, cash in bank 45,000 GL111, and you credit accounts receivable GL112 45,000. This is to record partial collection of accounts. So since this is a partial collection, so there will be a 45 there will be a cash balance, or uh, obligation balance with your customer. So, di ba? From transaction 4, 80,000 minus partial payment of your customers 45,000. So there will be 35,000 left of the customer's obligation. Okay? So, and you receive in transaction 4, you receive the oral promise to pay of your customer. So, you need to credit that here for you to deduct the debts, the obligation of your customer. So let's remember the normal balances of accounts receivable is under assets, that's debit, okay? And so it is deducted once that's in that's placed in the credit. So therefore, para maditakan ang katong utang sa imong customer, imuha siyang i-credit kay para minusan. Okay, so let's remember, there was 35,000 pesos left in the obligation of your customers or customer. Okay, so in transaction number 25, okay, partial payment of accounts 60,000 to the following suppliers: SMCT Davao 25,000, Gaisano Mall 20,000, Star Mall 15,000, total payable of 60,000. Okay, so you are paying in partial of your account. So you are dealing with your supplier. So you as an owner of the company, so ikaw na pod ang mo partial o bayad sa imuhang supplier. So go back to the previous transaction wherein katong nangutang ka sa imuhang laundry services nga supplier. Okay, so this is in transaction number 2. So since your original obligation is 90,000, so your partial amount, partial payment is 60,000. So what's your value received? Okay, unsay imong madawat? Okay, so your value received is, okay, so accounts payable, and you're going to get your oral promise to pay, no, para maditakan ang imuhang utang kung ni promise ka nga mobayad. So your value parted with imong gihatag sa imong supplier is cash of 60,000. So 90,000 minus 60,000, so you have a maintaining balance, or you have a obligation or balance to your supplier worth of 30,000. So try to check our transaction in 25. Okay, so debit accounts payable GL222 60,000, cash in bank GL111 60,000 to record partial payments of accounts. So go back to the transaction number 2, diba? So ma'am, laundry supplies malagi ring dire ni accounts payable pud, ang laundry supplies ang debit, na accounts payable is credit. So nga naman nga dili man na ibaylo ang nganong dili man laundry supplies ang credit, nga unsa man anday ang gamiton. Okay. So, since ani nga transaction is nangutang man ka sa supplier, loan the supplies imong madawat. Then, of course, ni oral promise to pay ka. So, namoy gikas suwatan at nga mobayad ka anang future nga due date sa imong pag-purchase. Then, ari, uh, since nibayad magkag partial, so kuhaon nimo tong imuhang accounts payable nga ni-promise ka para mamaynusan ang imuhang utang. Since this is the original or the normal balances of accounts payable is increasing in the liabilities for you to decrease your debt, so imuha siyang ibutang sa debit para makuhaan siya since in the debit side of accounts payable is decreasing man, so kuhaan siya. Okay? So, therefore, we place here in the debit and cash in bank is you're going to give your 60,000 to your supplier. So, bayaran mo siya in partial. Okay? So, that's the transaction. Okay, so, next is 30. Miss Gius Fontanoza hired an accountant manager or manager for his business for her. This is her. Okay, for her business as she has plenty of things to attain to at 10,000 per month effective April 1, 2024. So, what's your analysis? Do you think there is a transaction here or not? Okay, so since this is effective on April 1, 2024 and our transaction is March 2024 only, so this is just a future plan to Gius Fontanoza that her going to hire another employee, maybe dili na niya maapas og kanang accommodate yung mga customers sa kadaghan, so mag-hire siya og lain in the month of April. So for now, so there's no transaction yet. Okay, and then another transaction in 30, the following expenses were paid by Fontanoza Laundry Services for the month of March 2024. Okay, so we have the breakdown of the expenses of Fontanoza Laundry Services. Space rental, 5,000 pesos. Telephone, light, and water, 12,000. Salaries and employees contractual, 10,000. Total expenses paid, 27,000. Now, I'm going to ask you, what would be the accounting title that you're going to use since this is space rental? Okay, so go back to the chart of accounts since we talk about rental. So rent expense under the expenses 554. Okay, and we have the telephone and light and water. So that's belongs to utilities. No, under utilities we have a telephone, light, we have the lubricants, oil, so that's under utilities expense. And we have salaries and employees. So what would be the accounting title used here? Salaries and employees. So salaries expense 553 account number. Okay, so what's your analysis? What's your value received, your debit? Okay, so since this is not just a single entry, so this is compound interest. So gidungan no compound ang transaction nimo sa 30. Okay, so in your debit, so you receive rent expense, debit, utilities expense, debit, and salaries expense, debit, and your value parted with is you're going to pay for a cash because there's no, you're paying in expenses and there's no on account here, so let's pay to cash. Okay, so try to look at the journalized or general journal transaction. Okay, so debit rent expense on 30 March 30 GL 554 5,000, utilities expense GL 555 12,000, salary expense GL 553 10,000. So cash in bank is our credit GL 111 27,000 to record payment for expenses. Okay, so 27,000. Okay, so someone is uh, asking, Ma'am, what is the use of the estimated uncollectible accounts here and accumulated depreciation? We have also uncollectible accounts and accrued advertising, and we need to place that into the can the ledger or the general journal. Okay, so since there's no additional information yet that I indicated, no, there's no information, additional information yet, so you don't need to record in the general journal the following estimated and collectible accounts. For the advertising uncollectible accounts, they uh, the accumulated depreciation because there's additional information in the problem, but I wasn't able to indicate that for you to focus on journalizing until financial position. So that would be the transaction of the adjusting entries, no? So adjusting entries, and there will be a closing interest or reversing interest in the near future, no? So just uh, indicate that accounting titles in the general ledger, no? And you will just keep for uh, one page back to back, no, one page of your general journal transaction, because we will be indicated there the adjusting entries, closing entries, if we're continued, if we are going to continue this problem after the midterm exam or after the examination, or maybe in the next meeting. Okay, so uh, and then uh, this estimated and collectible accounts is we were going to refer the balances of the debts of our customers here. That if you remember, now we have 35,000 pesos remaining balance of your customer. So and under the accounts receivable transaction. Okay, so accumulated depreciation, we are paying for a machine, laundry machine, so under laundry equipment. So there will be a salvage value or estimated use of life of that certain equipment. So maybe it depends upon the additional information, if it is asked or if it is stated that it is 5 years estimated useful life, or maybe if we're going to analyze the transaction, this is only for a month, 1 month transaction. So maybe you're going to solve the uh, what would be the actual cost of your laundry machine, divide by the how many months that since we have 12 months in 1 year, for you to determine how much is the cost of the estimated life in 1 month, since this is only 1 month transaction. So estimated cost of the machine divide 12 months, and for example 35,000 divide uh, divide 12 months, no? So 35,000, for example 35,000 divide 12 months, so you have 2,916 estimated usage of life of the laundry machine. Okay, but I'm going to discuss that further as we go along, no? So this is just an step by steps, sumabot na taan, and uncollectible accounts. So this is based on the percentage. There will be percentage here, maybe that's 10%, and I will be discussing this one later on. And accurate advertising, so since this is also talk about the advertisement of your business. Okay, and there's an additional information of the problem uh, in the near future, so ito paning tiwason. Okay, so we will just focus on journalizing first until financial position, the basic transaction. Okay, so that's all for the general journal, and for us to uh, post that to the ledger. So uh, there will be another uh, video discussion of the general ledger, and for you to know how to post that to the ledger. So kindly uh, listen for the discussion and internalize what I'm discussing to you so that you can follow. And do not forget to watch the video discussion and try to comment below if there will be some queries, or if you can't understand or if you cannot understand the transaction. So feel free to comment and ask in the comment section below. Okay, so don't forget to comment and like for me to determine if you are studying or you are listening to the discussion. Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, so abangi ang posting to sa general ledger. Okay, goodbye everyone. Thank you.